Hello everyone and welcome to the final episode of the 2015 spring semester, and we have a jam-packed show as we prepare for May 2nd, or formerly known as one of the busiest days in the sports world, this Saturday. The NFL Draft, Kentucky Derby, NBA playoffs, as well as the main event between Money Mayweather and the Pac-Man. Plus, we got you covered on Wildcats going into the NBA Draft and NHL playoffs. Don't go away. UATV Channel 3 Sports starts right now. I'm your host, Justin Spears, and in the studio with me are two guys that are going to say peace out in a couple weeks. Look who came back to pay us a visit: senior voice of Arizona hockey and FC Tucson analyst Joey Putrelo, and senior camp radio sports director Fernando Galvan. Guys, this Saturday will be probably the busiest days of sports this year. Might as well be in the last dozen years. What are you guys most excited about? Joey, we'll start with you.
Well, of course, I'm most excited about FC Tucson opening night against the Arizona Suarez. I'm just kidding, guys. I am excited about that, but definitely the NFL Draft is what I'm most excited about this weekend. There's going to be history made, and it's just going to be an exciting weekend overall, but definitely the NFL Draft is my pick.
You already know, Justin. It's the fight. I've been waiting for this fight since 2009, and I just can't wait for Saturday night to get here.
Awesome. All right, well, Joey, we'll start with you since you're the hockey man. NHL playoffs are in full swing, and last night the Tampa Bay Lightning tied the series 3-3, sending a Game 7. Joey, how did the Lightning get it done, and can the Red Wings win in Tampa Bay?
Well, Justin, I think that Tyler Johnson has been the key for Tampa Bay throughout this series. He's had 6 goals in each of the 6 games, well, 2 in each win. So he's been the key factor for these guys. And then also, can Detroit win? Obviously they can win, and especially both teams are 1-2 at home in this series. So the teams have been getting it done on the road. However, Tampa Bay had the NHL's best 32 wins at home during the regular season. They had 50 wins during the regular season, and I think they're definitely the better team than Detroit. I think they'll get it done. All
right, now we're gonna still stick with you. Sticking with the hockey expert, the Capitals defeated the Islanders 2-1 in Game 7 last night. Alex Ovechkin is playing some solid hockey right now. Joey, is this finally the year of Ovechkin?
Well, you say he's playing solid hockey, and he is, Justin, but he's only scored 1 goal, 4 points overall. His team got out of the series, obviously, in 7 games, but he also has a plus-minus of -2. So I think this is more of the year of Braden Holtby, who is the goalie for Washington. He's been outstanding. In 3 of the 4 games that Washington won, the Capitals won by just 1 goal. And you need your goaltender to be playing at his highest level during these playoffs, and Holtby's been getting it done. I want to see more from Ovechkin, honestly, because he, again, was a 50-goal scorer, 50-plus goal scorer in the NHL. I want to see more from him in the playoffs. I want to see more.
That's the GOAT right there. Joey Putrelo providing some cold, hard facts. So now we're going to go ahead and transition. Now involving everyone, the NFL Draft is coming up this Saturday. Guys, who goes number 1? Winston, Mariota. If you were working for the front office for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are you choosing and why? Fernando, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Well, like I told you earlier, Justin, right now when you have a number 1 pick overall, you're basing your job and your future on it, and you can't do that with a guy with as many questions as Jameis Winston has. You got to go with Marcus Mariota. We know there are questions about him being able to transfer over to the pro level, but I'll take that risk as opposed to a guy maybe getting into trouble outside of the field.
See, I disagree with you there, Fernando. I agree with what you said about Mariota. He definitely has the better head on his shoulders, and he definitely is a high-skilled player. I don't know if he's exactly ready for the professional level yet. Whereas Jameis Winston, he's ready to go right now. He's got the arm. He's got the size. He's got the running ability. He's mobile. And what I don't like about Marcus Mariota is I feel like he's more of a scrambling quarterback than he is a passing quarterback. Jameis Winston definitely is always looking to pass first, and that's what I want from my franchise guy. We've seen time in and time out these guys who rely on their legs way too much. That could be Mariota again, and we see guys like Robert Griffin III, who obviously has his head screwed on a lot loose than Mariota, but he's a runner before he passes. And we've seen him get injured. He's fragile, and I think that Jameis Winston is more built for the pro game. He's in a more professional style offense than Mariota, so that's why I would pick Winston first overall. You're obviously taking a huge risk with his personality, but as far as the mechanics go, as far as his size goes, Winston is definitely the better quarterback.
Now, since we're already talking about Jameis Winston, a lot of people feel like he should get drafted to a team outside of the state of Florida. Everybody kind of mentions, obviously, the Buccaneers at number 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do you feel like it could be beneficial for Jameis Winston to be drafted to a team that's not in his environment?
I don't think that really matters, and we saw last year with a guy like Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel left Texas, go out to Cleveland, and still had a lot of troubles off the field, even during the offseason. So this is one of those issues where a guy's going to find trouble no matter where he's at. It may be more prone to happen in Florida, but if he doesn't want to work well, if he doesn't want to be that guy, it doesn't matter where he's at. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, great example, Fernando, there with Johnny Manziel in Cleveland. Cleveland is by no means the city of nightlife. Mm-hmm. And Johnny Manziel still found a way to get to Vegas every other weekend and party. And there was $1. He was found sniffing $1, something like that. All sorts of sketchy stuff that Johnny Manziel was still able to do while he was playing for the Cleveland Browns. Now, with a guy like Jameis Winston, he'll be in either Tampa Bay or Tennessee, and I think that Tampa Bay is going to pick him first overall because I think he's the better quarterback. They might go with Mariota, but either way, like Fernando said, no matter where the person is, it's just all are they mature? Are they going to be ready to take on the responsibility of being the franchise quarterback for a team? And if Winston is ready, he will be. If he's not, he's not. Doesn't matter where he is.
Now, but you also got to think about the coaches at 1 and 2. You could go number 1 with Lovie Smith as your coach, or number 2 with Ken Whisenhunt. Both have had a fair amount of success with quarterbacks. Obviously, Rex going to playing in the Super Bowl, and then you also have Ken Whisenhunt, who was obviously coached Kurt Warner in the Super Bowl. If you were to play for each one of those coaches, who would you choose?
Me, I think I want to play with Lovie Smith, and I think you've seen him because he's able to get it done with a little bit less. You're right, Ken Whisenhunt did get the Cardinals there, but he also had Kurt Warner in the huddle there, leading his team.
And Larry Fitzgerald and
exactly.
Quan Bolden.
There was a lot of tools there for that Arizona Cardinals team.
Too.
That Ken Whisenhunt really just kind of fell into a great situation and took them as far as they could. But you mentioned it, Rex Grossman, nobody really remembers him anymore, and he still played in the Super Bowl with Lovie Smith.
Yeah, I think that I would rather play for Lovie Smith because he obviously coaches quarterbacks better, as both of you said. I mean, Rex Grossman not only went to the Super Bowl with him, and I think that Jay Cutler has regressed since Lovie Smith has left Chicago.
Yeah.
So I would definitely rather, if I was a quarterback, I would definitely rather play for Lovie Smith. And he's shown that he could coach defenses too because, yeah, Rex Grossman took them to the Super Bowl, but it was really that Chicago Bears elite defense that took them all the way to the Super Bowl. They fell to the Colts, but still it was a remarkable season by the Bears.
That's the thing. You know you're not going to have to do it all by yourself if you're going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. If you're Marcus Mariota, you're Jameis Winston, you're going there, you know that defense is going to be behind you. You're really not going to have to make too many big plays in order to win and be successful.
All right. These guys know the stuff.
And you'll have Mike Evans, too.
And Mike Evans. Just can't beat it.
You can't beat it.
So. All right, well, now before we go to commercial break, we're playing a game called Hashtags. So these guys are newbies and don't know the rules, so each analyst, including myself, will give a hashtag over a certain subject that I select. Guys, might as well talk some Wildcat basketball. 3 players for Arizona have declared for the NBA draft, and this is where we'll start out our great debate. Stanley Johnson declared for the draft last Thursday and is projected to be a lottery pick. Johnson joins fellow teammates Brandon Ashley and Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. So, guys, what type of player will Stanley Johnson be in the NBA?
Well, I think Stanley Johnson is going to be one of these guys that comes in and makes an impact really almost immediately because of the physical attributes. Again, 6'8", 240, quick, explosive first step, can get to the hole. He can really do everything he needs to, and we saw his jump shot improve dramatically throughout this season here at the U of A. So I don't see it.
So let's see that hashtag.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hoist up that
hashtag for me is going to be hashtag free throw, and like I said, it's because of his ability to get to the basket, draw contact, and get to the line.
Okay.
All right, and I wanted people to see my hashtag, so I wrote in black ink, but I still have messy handwriting, so let's see if they can still read it. Hashtag America runs on Duncan. Stanley Johnson is not going to be an immediate impact player in the NBA, but once in a while he's going to throw it down because we've seen him so many times at Arizona create that big, exciting play where he just bursts through the middle and is able to flush it with one hand, sometimes two. And so America runs on Duncan. The dunk is the most exciting play in the NBA, and I think that's what Stanley Johnson, apart from his defense, is going to offer.
You know, everybody always compares, Stanley Johnson. Everybody says Ron Artest because he's such a defensive guy. But
Ron Artest, but less crazy.
Right. But obviously less crazy. I'm going to have to say, because Stanley Johnson is very familiar with LeBron James, went to his LeBron James Skills Academy, played one-on-one against LeBron James, projected to be a top 10 pick, might go number 10 to the Miami Heat. So I'm going to go ahead and say LBJ 2.0. Look, I know you guys think I'm crazy because who can be LeBron James? There is nobody who can be the next LeBron James because he's LeBron James. So
right.
I think, a guy that's, such a big body, 6'6", 6'7", about 250, he'll still grow into his body. Right. And once he plays with the big boys in the NBA, he'll finally grow into that athlete that we all know that he can be. So I'm going with LBJ 2.0.
That's a Laker fan in you.
He's got to learn how to shoot before he's LeBron.
Oh, but we've seen flashes towards the end of the season that he can shoot. So
and LeBron wasn't that great of a shooter when he first came into the league.
Exactly.
Either.
And like you said, America runs on dunking, and LeBron loves the dunk. So,
True.
All right. So, anyways, what type of player will Brandon Ashley become in the NBA? Joey, we'll go ahead and start with you.
All right. I'm going to say my hashtag is going to be #Dark Horse because I feel like a lot of people are not going to expect much from Brandon Ashley when he comes into the league. He's a tall, lanky guy, and I feel like not everybody is going to take him seriously. And so I think he's a dark horse just because his mentality and just the way that he plays so hard. And once in a while, those long arms, they can reach in there and they can steal the ball away. Those long arms can take that ball and they can take it to the hoop. And also, like I said, America runs on dunking, and once in a while, Ashley can throw it down himself.
Okay.
Well, I hate to do it because I am such a big Brandon Ashley fan, but mine is #tweener. You know what? He's tall, he's lanky, but he just doesn't carry the weight that it's going to need to play the 4. And he's little too. I'm not sure he's athletic enough to be a dominant 3 either in the NBA. So as good as he is, and I'll look flash plays he's going to give you, I'm just not sure he has a real fit yet in the league.
Those are some pretty solid hashtags, but he's 6'9", right around 6'10", 6'9.5", I should say, and he's developed a jump shot, this past season. So since he's so lengthy and he has that jump shot, I'm going to go ahead and do a combination of 2 players, call it Channing Bosch, #Channing Bosch. Channing Frye and Chris Bosch without looking like a dinosaur. It's he's so lengthy. He can grab rebounds. He can even play the 5. We even saw when Caleb Tarczewski got into some foul trouble, he was able to shift down to the center position. And obviously Miller can't trust on Dusan a lot, because he's still learning. So he put Brandon Ashley, played small ball, and it worked out perfectly. It worked out well against Cal, and it even worked out well against Oregon, and they beat Oregon by 28 points, the Pac-12 championship. So. All right, of course, we can't forget about the McHale Center fan favorite, Rondé Hollis Jefferson. Guys, what's your hashtag for the Shim Reaper?
All right, my hashtag is going to be #block party because Rondé averaged just about a block per game. I think that's going to go up as he gets into the NBA because I think he'll play more of a defensive role as a rookie. Maybe they're going to trust him with the basketball more as he improves, but at the beginning, I don't think that they're going to rely on him to be the top scorer for the team. So he's going to be mainly used on the defense. He's got to be dominating the glass, and I want to see him blocking people. That's why I said #block party.
All right.
I'm not too far from that, honestly. I'm going to go with #RHJ Bowen. And for those
Bowen.
guys, Bruce Bowen. He's a good defensive specialist. We saw it all throughout his time here at the U of A. I don't think it's going to be any different when he gets to the league. His defensive prowess is going to allow him to get a lot of minutes, be very, very impactful for any team he goes to, and that's where you're going to see his biggest impact.
All right. I kind of, what's, a Channel 3 Sports episode with Justin Spears without a Drake lyric? And I want to go and #6man. He is, we saw in his freshman year at the University of Arizona, he came off the bench for Aaron Gordon. Was it, like he said, he's a defensive specialist. He thrives on defense. And also, America runs on dunking. Every now and then you'll see him get in the lane and just throw down a jumper or throw down the dunk. But one thing that really concerns me is his jump shot. Even a lot of people say, especially Lute Olson, thrived on this, when he was coaching. You could see a player's progression in a big way from his freshman year to his sophomore year, and that's one thing that Rondé Hollis Jefferson really didn't do in his sophomore season. He couldn't shoot the ball past 12 feet. So I think if he develops a jump shot outside, and maybe he gets selected by a team like the Golden State Warriors where Steph Curry, Klay Thompson can coach him up and teach him how to shoot, I think that'll be beneficial for the Shrim Reaper. So. All right, well, that will do it for the first part of the show, but stick around because coming up, we have Fernando Galvan giving some insight on the Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao fight. You are watching C3S on UATV.
What are you guys doing?
Working?
Continue.
NHL playoffs, NFL and NBA drafts. So now we're going to shift over to my dear friend, Mr. Fernando Galvan, and he's talking some boxing. To put this in a nutshell, this Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, well, it might be arguably the greatest fight of this generation. Fernando, I'm just curious, how do you think the fight will turn out?
Well, I don't think there's any argument that it is the biggest fight of this generation. It's been really 25 years since we've seen a fight of this magnitude, and not just monetary value, but in excitement as far as having the two best guys go at it face to face at once. And like I said, I've waited for since December 2009. I've been waiting for this to happen, and I really think this fight is going to end up one of two ways. Either it's going to be really boring because we're going to see Floyd Mayweather Jr. go out there and do what he does best. He avoids punches, he pot shots, he moves and gets out of the way and makes his opponents really look silly more than anything. Then, on the other hand, the other real option, and the one I'm hoping for more than anything, is the all-out fist fight. Floyd tends to start really slowly, and if he does that against Manny Pacquiao right out of the gate, it could mean trouble. You start losing rounds that early to a guy like Manny Pacquiao, it's going to force him to do things he's not comfortable doing, and now you're asking for fireworks from beginning to end if that's the case.
You know, and we went to the MGM Grand Arena, and we even asked ushers there, what's the atmosphere going to be like. They said this is like their Christmas. It's like everybody has to work that day, and they said even if Floyd Mayweather ends up losing, it might be chaos. Why do you think it will be that like that?
Well, for one, you've got so many people going into the city just for this one event. They're expecting nearly 100,000 people flying into Las Vegas just for this one night and this one event. There's over 50,000 tickets sold for inside of the arena and the surrounding areas for closed-circuit television. You're looking at a lot of people betting a lot of money. And people have never seen Floyd Mayweather lose. And if it happens, especially if it happens in a controversial fashion, you're looking at the same thing that happened with Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. Tables getting knocked over and people rushing out of their mad of what they just saw.
And possibly an ear bouncing around. So.
Always an option.
Yeah, and I Fernando is obviously the boxing expert here, but I know somewhere Howard Cosell is looking down, smiling at this jacket right now. And I think that Floyd is going to win, but there has been a lot of smack talk going on between these two guys, and this is going to be the most insane fight ever. I mean, I hope it is. I hope that it lasts till the final round, and it's going to be crazy because it definitely has been hyped up a lot, and these two guys are boxing legends, and it would be the perfect way for either Pacquiao or Floyd to finish their career.
Right. Every generation seems to have this kind of fight where you have the Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, or you have a De La Hoya and Trinidad. This is our generation's versions of that, and if they don't perform, both of their legacies are going to be hurt seriously by the end of the night.
All right. That's the expert right there, Mr. Galvan. Even Joey chiming in. I like it. I like it. All right, and now we'll end the show with some NBA playoffs. The Chicago Bulls dropped another game last night to the Milwaukee Bucks, 94-88. Michael Carter-Williams tallied 22 points and 9 assists. Is MC Dub outplaying Derrick Rose? Joey?
Yesterday, yeah, obviously he did yesterday. It was not even close. Michael Carter-Williams was definitely the better player between he and Derrick Rose. But overall in the series, no. I mean, Derrick Rose has had some great games in this series. I think he scored over 30 points twice and led the team to that overtime win in one of the games, and his team is still in control. But so overall in the series, Derrick Rose is still outplaying Michael Carter-Williams. But yesterday, MC Dubs, as you just call him, my boy from Syracuse, definitely outplayed Derrick Rose. But definitely the MVP throughout this series and the MVP for the Bulls throughout the rest of the playoffs, no question, is going to be Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Absolutely, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. Yeah, Rose did have one bad game, but when you want to look at the totality of the series, he's had the better series.
Yeah, he couldn't. I think he went 0 for 7 from 3, and he was 5 for 20 on shooting. Still scored over 10 points, but he took a lot of shots. I expect him to rebound next game. He looks healthy. He looks a lot better, and just because he had one bad game isn't going to portray how he'll play for the rest of the playoffs.
All right, well, with the top-seeded Eastern Conference Atlanta Hawks allowing the Brooklyn Nets to tie up the series, and with the Cleveland Cavaliers losing Kevin Love to a separated shoulder, along with J.R. Smith being Floyd Mayweather, suspended for the first 2 games of the next series after throwing hands in Game 7. Now, the Eastern Conference looks up for grabs pretty much. Guys, if there was a team to surprise everyone and come out of the Eastern Conference, who would it be? Fernando, we'll start with you, actually.
It shouldn't be such a surprise since it's the number 1 seed, but I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks. There are a lot of doubters still about Atlanta Hawks being able to get it done, even though they are the 1 seed. A lot of people saying it's a fluke. When you get to playoff basketball, it's different. Guys like LeBron James will make their presence felt, and I still see them being able to get it done because they play basketball the way the Spurs do, and they win.
Well, now this has always been the case for the Hawks. They just play better at home, and they have the home court advantage. So I don't think that Brooklyn is going to win this series, but wow, give them credit, especially yesterday when they played. I watched that game, and I have never seen Deron Williams play like that for the Nets before. I have never seen him put up a performance in a game of that magnitude where they had to come back to tie up that series. That's Deron Williams right there proving, or at least for that game, that he's worth his contract. If he can play like that throughout the rest of the playoffs, watch out for the Nets because they will go far if Deron Williams could play like that. It's really all up to him. It's really all up to how well Deron Williams will play, and he was lights out, especially from downtown.
Well, you think about it, Deron Williams, a lot of people said he's a little seasoned. He's getting old.
He's a veteran.
It's just, he's a veteran.
He should be that guy. He's paid to be that guy.
Because not only that, but he's been in the league for 10+ years,
right?
Yeah. And he's also a college player. So when he came out, he was already in his 20s. So and a lot of people were saying, he's personally, I think Deron Williams is still a top 5 point guard. Even with the young guns like we have Kyrie Irving and Ja Wall coming in, but because Deron Williams, he's just such a veteran, he can put his team on the back. And like you said, Joey, in a game like that, he looked like Utah Jazz Deron Williams. And if he can play like that for the rest of the series, like Joey said, watch out for Brooklyn.
That's what fans in Brooklyn have been waiting to see from Deron Williams. It's a lights-out performance like that, and he finally gave it to them. We'll see, though, if he can keep it up, especially when the team goes back on the road.
Right, you gave him $96 million for that moment. For that moment yesterday, that game, that's what you gave it to him for. And the problem with him being a top 5 point guard is the inconsistency. But if he can get it tied down right now, you're absolutely right. I don't think there's any
Joe Johnson, too. It's not like Joe Johnson isn't making money. I want to see more from him, too.
That's another veteran guy that has all the skills in the world. With getting that big paycheck, you expect him to show up in the big moments.
And he's a former Hawk, too. So that should give him extra incentive.
That's right.
Because the Hawks passed on him instead of giving him that contract that Brooklyn did.
Right.
Brooklyn. But before we leave the night, just out of curiosity, what was the most memorable sports moment when attending the U of A? Fernando, we'll go ahead and start with you.
We had a lot of good ones this year, but I got to say it's going to be the Hail Mary. Being able to be there at Arizona Stadium and calling that game with you, play-by-play for Camp Sports Radio, was awesome. I don't think I've seen a moment like that, and I lived in Tucson for most of my life. Really excited to see that, and not sure if we're going to see another one like that anytime soon.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine calling that game, but I was actually down on the field while that happened, that made it extra crazy too. But I'm gonna go with a different moment. It was another game that I got to call for camp. It was when Arizona defeated Oregon, the last game of the season at Arizona Stadium. Everybody had the Wildcats counted out. Everybody. No one thought that the Wildcats would have a chance, and Oregon was talking to the media saying, oh, we're not satisfied with playing with the Rose Bowl. We don't want to go to the Rose Bowl. And guess what? Arizona didn't send them to the Rose Bowl. They knocked them out of the contention there. And I got to call that game, and from the stands, I got to watch, or from the press box, the booth, I got to watch the stands just flood onto the field, and I had never seen the field be rushed like that before, and it was just an incredible moment to be a part of, and incredible to unfold that story to the millions of listeners at home for camp.
Absolutely.
Wow, Arizona football for both of you guys. Personally, Arizona's a basketball school,
Right.
so you got to look for the big moments for basketball. Like, Sean Miller has never won a Pac-12 tournament, ever.
Right.
In the 5 years he was coaching, he never did it, but he finally got the team together, and he came out, and not only did he win in that fashion, but not only did he win, but in the fashion that he won it, he beat Oregon by 28 points. And not only that, but it was in Las Vegas, and the fact that, Arizona was able to come up, like we talked about when we were calling the game, MGM turned into McHale Super North.
Absolutely.
Almost, because it was stupid. There was the MGM. How many fans holds?
It's 16,000 in the MGM Grand, and I guarantee you there's probably 14,000 U of A fans
Exactly.
in that place. It was ridiculous.
Exactly. There was just a little sliver of green and yellow in that Pac-12 championship game. And honestly, it was great to see Arizona win by 28 points. And being on the court and finally seeing Sean Miller,
Right.
It felt like it was just a weight that was just lifted off his chest. And even though he still needs to make a Final Four, he could go ahead and scratch one thing off his checklist, being a coach.
That was a step in the right direction, and you're right. There was something special being able to see those guys cut down the nets, being on the court, being a part of that. It was a real special moment. Definitely high on my list, Justin. Had a lot of fun covering
Definitely.
Another special moment I think that was pretty cool. I mean, he didn't really celebrate it that much, but it was definitely when I got to call Sean Miller's 100th win as an Arizona Wildcat. He didn't make too much of it, but still, you could tell in his eyes when he was talking, it was definitely a special moment for him. But Fernando, you and I are seniors now. We're graduating. We've seen some crazy stuff unfold. You being the sports director of camp this year have got to call some great moments. I'm very happy for you with that. I'm personally so blessed to have had this great career here at the U of A, and I'm excited to see what happens to us next. And even you, Justin, you've got another couple of years here, but you've shown a lot of promise, and I like what you're doing right now, and good luck, buddy, because you're on the right track.
Definitely. All right. It just warms my heart.
Take the wheel, Jesus.
Exactly. Well, that will do it for the 2014-2015 school year. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Also, check out this episode on YouTube and tune in to us after a long summer break for the 2015-2016 school year. Sad that these guys won't be here. For Joey Putrelo and Fernando Galvan, I'm Justin Spears signing off and saying goodnight, and thank you for tuning in to Channel 3 Sports on UATV.